'76ers officially in the playoffs. How about that? A home victory in the play-in round versus the Orlando Magic. Final score 109-97. And Desmond Bane tried his ass off to make it a game. Credit to him for the Orlando Magic side of things. They were cold as ice from downtown all game long. But if it wasn't for Desmond Bane, this thing would have got ugly. But enough about the Orlando Magic. This is about the 76ers. And this was an opportunity for them to shut people up like myself, and they did. They performed tonight. It was a really good game. Maxey, for my money, was aggressive. There's plenty of good to go around. I think it starts with Maxey. I think then you go to VJ. I know Sam Oshtry is going to talk about the big man down low, Andre Drummond. I thought he looked a little older today for some odd reason. I was like, damn, Drummond looked like he aged in the last week. Whatever it is. Regardless, it was a victory. And now, as I said, they're in the playoffs. But this was the job. This was, there was a task at hand, and they checked that box. They accomplished the mission. And that's what I'll give them all the credit in the world for. A nice victory at home. And they lumped them. They lumped them good. This was a 1.5, 2-point favorite for some shops. I think BetParks had 2, DraftKings 1.5. But the Sixers absolutely lumped them. And if you had the Sixers, there was maybe like a few times that you were like, this is tight. But for the most part, it felt like the Sixers were going to win this game. I got Sean Barnard with me from DK and Network. I got also Crushing Broad as well. I got Sam Oshtry from The Score. I'm Sean Brace. This is Sixers Wrap-Up Playoff Edition, powered by 97.5 The Fanatic. Sean Barnard, floor is yours.
Yeah, they let the Magic hang a little bit. They did not make it as seamless and easy as I would probably like to be the case, but a ton of good to get into. VJ Edgecombe, as unafraid as a rookie could possibly look in this type of stage. Kelly Oubre Jr. setting the tone for the Sixers team from start to finish. 2 big first quarter threes, getting in a little scrap with Paolo Banchero, which I do think really amp things up for this Sixers team. Tyrese Maxey being as advertised. Andre Drummond, just probably his best game of the season straight up and how he looked tonight. A ton of good to get into from top to bottom on the Sixers roster. Feed me the Boston Celtics, Sean Brace. That's how I'm feeling right now.
Sam Oshtry, Blair just checking in. He says, I'm calling this the Andre Drummond game. Of course, Blair from The Score, right on cue.
It was the Andre Drummond game. How about the big production from both guys? Adem Bone, who had an incredible third quarter, and Andre Drummond. That Kelly Oubre hit 5 threes. VJ and Tyrese Maxey were both great for most of the game. Maxey had a few struggles, but was great down the stretch. This was the first time it felt like in a long time that there was great vibes around the Sixers. And yeah, they had some big wins. You go back to the Hornets win a few weeks ago. But for the most part, in a big moment, it's been a little while. I mean, they haven't won a playoff series in a few years now. They obviously had a disastrous year last year. They lose to the Knicks in the first round the year before. But maybe the last great moment for the Sixers was their play-in win over the Heat, the Nick Batum game. 2 years ago at this point. This felt like another great moment, great vibes and energy around this team that's back in the playoffs. As much as we criticize them and their coach and Morey and everything, they're back in the playoffs and they have an opportunity, and that's all you can ask for.
Get involved in the conversation. A lot of people will be checking in. Of course, 97.5 The Fanatic is powering this bad boy. They're putting us out on the socials. We want to get anybody and everybody involved, of course, as this team now moves into the playoffs, and we'll be taking on the Boston Celtics. We will talk plenty about that at the end here. But tonight, we are focusing on what took place. And again, it was just a fun game to tune into, right? I know that's what's catching up or catching on for a lot of people. For the Flyers perspective, is it's like you tune in, it's a rewarding experience. It's not a struggle. You're not watching it like although the third quarter did get ugly on cue. You know how that works with this team. But still, great victory at home. And like I said, it's playoffs, right? Like whatever took place in the regular season, put it behind you. You had one job to do tonight, win. Because if they didn't win tonight, who the hell knows what took place with the Charlotte Hornets? LaMelo Ball will be available. He's not going to be suspended today. Upgraded to a flagrant, but will not be suspended, and I'm happy about that.
Rightfully
I'm sure
so.
if you guys want to get a take on that, we'll hit on that a little bit later as well. But Sean, talk to me about something as far as Maxey and VJ related, because I think it starts with both of those guys. And man, if they're I know that we're going to be talking about some really good competition, especially defensively with Boston. But man, if they're so attack oriented and ready to get after the basket, man, that's a recipe for success, especially if the shots are falling, of course. So if Maxey and VJ are aggressive, man, let's go. Let's have some fun.
Yeah, both these guys are just so special, man. And I'm ready to officially crown Tyrese Maxey. I think he's the fastest player in the NBA, straight up. I don't think there is that combination of both just straight line speed when we're talking on a fast break, going from baseline to baseline, as well as that first step, man. Like that quickness, those are typically like different categories for players. There's guys that are quick and guys that are fast. Maxey's both of those things. And then when you add in the threat of the three-point shot, that's just a complete basketball player. And there were a couple stretches of this game where I didn't love the process and the shot selection that he ultimately went through there, but he did settle in and pulled the right strings when it mattered most. And his backcourt partner right there in VJ Edgecombe, I was honestly even more impressed with tonight. Just the fearlessness that he plays with, getting some tough rebounds. I believe he finished with 11 rebounds today. Yeah, 11 rebounds, had 19 points. Just grown up and ready for the moment. I liked him getting into it with Jalen Suggs, sort of putting him into the stanchion right there. And like some of these like eye-popping plays, that little spin move and one that he pulled off right there, these are not things that you see out of a rookie, out of a kid that is in his first taste of postseason NBA action right there. So I love the way that these guys complement each other. And even I saw Maxey getting a little bit upset about this in that final play where VJ went to the line there, where it was clearly a play call that was from Nick Nurse. I thought watching it live, it was drawn up for Paul George. From the reaction, it seemed like it was a Maxey play that was called up. But the bottom line is it was taking too slow to develop. And VJ just said, I'm taking it myself. I'm putting my head down, getting to the rack, and just took off. Got fouled, got to the line. And obviously that was not how it was drawn up. But that level of confidence to this isn't working, I'm just going to go figure it out on my own. That speaks volumes to who this kid is and who this kid's going to be, man. This is a special backcourt duo. And I do love just getting these teases, these tastes that we're seeing right in front of our face.
No doubt about that. Sam, Kelly Oubre, the thing I said today was on the air. I said, Maxey's got to go for 30 if they're going to win this game. Check that box. He goes for 31. Oh, by the way, that was his number on DraftKings. And I want to say the score as well this morning, 31 even. And it was like minus 116. So I was like, oh, odds makers think he is going to go off. So he goes there. And I felt like he just needed, of course, right? I'm not, reinventing the wheel here. You needed production from somebody that you're not counting on. Kelly Oubre checks that box, right? And I don't know if that's fair or unfair, but you needed somebody to help out, whether it's him, whether it's Grimes, whether it's Paul George. Like you need a third scorer. You got it from Oubre, 5 of 10 from downtown. But they said it on a broadcast. It's his best season as far as shooting the three, getting hot at the right time right now for him.
Let me tell you the difference in the game. It was so simple. It was driving the basketball. It really was that simple. And I was tracking this. I started tracking it at halftime. The Sixers attempted 18 shots in the third quarter. 13 of them were threes or deep twos, and they went 2 for 13 on those shots. Fourth quarter comes around. I was screaming at the TV with my brother that I was watching, screaming at the TV, get downhill. If I'm Nick Nurse in this, what I'm saying, no more threes. Nobody is shooting any more threes unless you're wide open off a driving kick. Get downhill. Good things happen when you get downhill. In the fourth quarter, only 5 of their 20 shots in the fourth quarter were threes. They started getting downhill, getting to the free throw line. VJ had a couple trips to the free throw line. Paul George had a couple trips to the free throw line. They were settling so much in the second and third quarter, I thought. Instead of getting downhill, they were doing a good job of getting these switches, which is what you want. But they weren't attacking those switches. They were just settling for deep jumpers. Sometimes Maxey, sometimes Paul George, sometimes VJ. And instead, it really was a lot of Paul George who was settling for these jumpers. And instead of that, you want to get downhill, not just to get to the free throw line, not just because driving the ball is more effective, but also collapses the defense, and you're going to get better threes and high quality threes. Kelly Oubre was the only guy who could shoot tonight, and he was great. I mean, he hit 5 threes, but there was no one else who had the 3 ball going. That's why relying on the 3 ball is so dangerous for a team that can't really shoot. But you're going to get better threes when you drive the basketball. And that's what they did in that fourth quarter, especially. I mean, I think it was a 5-point game with around 3 minutes to go. So it was still a close game. pretty much all after that was driving, getting downhill, getting to the free throw line. Good things happen when you drive the basketball. I think there are only 3 over the last 3 minutes was the Andre Drummond knockdown triple, which
the dagger
was the dagger in that. Drive the basketball is what they did, and I thought it was impressive how mature that adjustment was from the third to fourth quarter.
Yeah, it was tight down the stretch. There were some points where it did get really close. Of course, Orlando did, I think, took the lead. Yeah, they had the lead at one point. But the Sixers, I thought, commanded this whole game. I never thought for a second that they were going to lose this game. Anything is possible.
I was a little worried for a second,
including late in the game when they gave up that inbounds. What the hell was that all about in the fourth quarter?
The bench was talking to VJ Edgecombe.
Yeah.
And then he just got backdoored. And then Nick Nurse turned around to his bench and was like, can you guys shut up? Why are you talking to them during the live ball?
A little bit of a crafty move from Franz Wagner, too. He did the full cut out of bounds. Like it was a savvy move from Wagner, but can't happen. Inexcusable any way you cut it. But that was maybe the lone time tonight that VJ showed a little bit of the inexperience.
Yeah, you can live with that. Also, with the double dribbles or getting called for the carries, whatever he was getting called. 2 of them, yeah. I mean,
he does that move all the time, by the way. He's done that all season.
He doesn't get called for it that often.
No, I couldn't remember a single time. Maybe once or twice during the season, but that's kind of like a VJ staple, that particular move.
They got the book on him. And that's what that was. You know that. All right. Again, back to the box score. We'll go player of the game next here from both of you guys. But the one thing I would say, it felt like the Sixers were definitely getting their hands on a lot of balls. A lot of steals. That, of course, I think they had 8 steals, 9 blocks as well. It felt like the Sixers owned them defensively. Is that something that I was making up in my mind, Sean?
No, I thought Paul George really set the tone on that side of the ball, particularly in the first half there. Bono with just an injection of energy with some of those loud blocks, man. Like it's Bono's a guy that I would probably throw in the category of can be frustrating to me as a player at times, but you feel his impact when his timing is right and when he is on. And we got 2 really good stints of that today. I thought it was a bit of a strange decision to start Bono off over Drummond. The biggest thing that I was worried about coming into this game was the rebounding battle and the way that Orlando does have a strong front court and attacks the glass well. But looking at the final results rebounding wise, 41 boards for the Magic and 40 for the Sixers. They picked up 9 offensive rebounds. The Magic did right there. You can live with that from the Sixers direction right there. But yeah, defensively, I thought they were locked in. It didn't feel like they were over scrambling as much, which has been when this team really falls apart. When you're helping too much, throwing traps, throwing 2 bodies at guys that a lot of times just lead to these open 3-point looks. And in fairness here, Orlando is not a team that can punish you to the level of what some other NBA teams can in that case. But ultimately, I think they checked the boxes that they needed to on that side of the ball, and it was really one of their better defensive efforts all year.
Sam, let me ask you this, and then we'll go player of the game. How good are the Orlando Magic, and what type of fall is it from the Celtics to the Magic? Like, are they same tier? Are we in the same island? Where are we at? We'll talk about
throw
the
in
Magic.
Brutal Palo Stinker should be a part of this question right here.
Yeah. That's where I was going after you were talking about the defense. I mean, this is the Celtics, the Magic. This is a varsity team versus like a peewee team. I won't even say middle school or anything. I mean that's the difference in terms of the coaching. Start with the level of intensity. The obviously the talent, all that. So we'll get to the Celtics in a little bit, but we should celebrate this while we can for a couple of days. The defense, to Sean's point, I thought was really, really good, and the plan was great. They really shut down Paolo Banchero, where they crowded the paint. They were forcing them to shoot the ball, and it's a terrible shooting team. They shot 26% from 3, and they were really soft closeouts on a lot of those guys, like Franz Wagner, like Jalen Suggs, like Paolo Banchero. They weren't letting him drive the ball. He was 7 for 22, and Banchero had a terrible game. I mean, his shot selection was really bad. He was shooting a lot of contested long-range 2s, which is a really poor quality shot. But I thought that was also because of how the Sixers were defending him. The only thing that the Sixers didn't do well, you could say, is they let Desmond Bane get open a couple times where they were refusing to switch. I mean, they had VJ Edgecombe as the primary defender on Desmond Bane, and they were refusing to switch that through a bunch of flex screens they were running him through, and VJ was chasing him, and that's kind of why you saw him get open certain moments. But other than him getting going, I thought it was a great defensive performance, and the fouling was a lot of hand. But this Magic team is as good as any in the league at getting to the free throw line. So it was honestly, compared to how good the Magic are, think the Sixers did a decent enough job preventing them from getting to the free throw line. Overall, I thought this was an incredible defensive performance. The rim protection from Adem Bona and Andre Drummond, both those guys, was outstanding. And the point of attack defense from Edgecombe, Paul George, Kelly Oubre was great. This was a full team effort defensively.
Yeah, a couple comments coming in. Bane had a great game. Rest of the team didn't help him. Yeah, Bane was incredible. He was just pulling up, and he was in the zone, man. He was making a lot more than he was missing. But his team, they were struggling from downtown. Good thing, because if they were actually hitting some shots, and again going over
that though, that was not a poor shooting. This is who the Orlando Magic are.
7 of 27, 26%. Sixers 12 of 35 for 34%.
I mean, the game was really ugly for most of the stretch. Like
if
you're a guy who likes offensive basketball, this really wasn't the game for you. But there was a stretch in the second period. Nobody could hit a shot.
Yeah, but one of my favorite things is hearing how people, the announcers or, the inside the studio at halftime, like they'll go ahead and try and get crafty and describing when teams are struggling. I thought Blake did a great job at halftime. I forget what he said, but so I'm like, yeah, teams are just trying to find the rhythm. They're trying to find their, it's so funny how you can create it. But obviously it was definitely a offensive struggle for both teams, to say the least. And third quarter was even worse. Like at least the first half was good basketball, I thought. Third quarter was oof. Anyways. All right, player.
I'll say real quick, the third quarter was the only time where I was like, all right, I'm a little bit worried about this from a Sixers perspective. When you let them hang around after you had plenty of chances to step on the neck and take full control of that game, and they really didn't, I was like, that might be a situation in which they regret that. And there's going to be some interesting conversations about Paolo Banchero this summer, man. The clear solution is there's going to be a coach firing, and they're going to run this back with a new offensive system. But I think straight up, man, his offensive process, his skill level, his shooting, his confidence, just none of that is good enough. He looked afraid to shoot it for stretches of this game from the perimeter right there. He's got to be the guy for this Orlando Magic team to work. And I know Wagner's dealt with a ton of injury issues and looked like he hurt his knee again at the end there. So hopefully he's all good. But my Palos, anyone owning some Palo stock right now, I think it is sinking all the way to a low point.
Yeah, it's definitely at a low point right now. No doubt about it. Still a ton of potential, but is he living up to the billing? No, I think he hasn't, reached his potential or anything that people are putting out there. I don't know. Sam disagrees, but I think he could be a hell of a lot better. Let's just put it that way.
I've been so back and forth on Paolo for his entire career. I'm at the point where the numbers don't lie with him, and the Magic for the second season in a row now have a better net rating when he's on the bench than when he's on the court, which kind of just tells you everything you need to know. So I don't know exactly what direction they're going to go in. It feels like between him and Franz Wagner, one of those guys is going to be off the team because that pairing just doesn't work anymore. Yeah, there's been a lot of injuries, but the experiment there is over. Could they enter the Giannis sweepstakes? Like Paolo would be a really intriguing guy for the Bucks to buy some stock in when they're not, whether they go through a rebuild or retool or however you want to phrase it. So that's an offseason conversation, but there's massive changes coming to Orlando, and their season's not even over. I mean, they're still playing Friday night against the Hornets. The Hornets should be favored in that one. I'd certainly pick the Hornets, but their season's not officially over.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. All right, let's go ahead. Player of the game for you guys. Yeah, I don't know which way you guys are going to go here. Of course, a couple options. Maxey leads the way with 31. We talked about VJ and how aggressive he was. Andre Drummond with a significant game in his own right, 14 points, including the dagger at the end of the game. Couple interesting candidates to choose from. Sean Barnard, I'll start with you.
Yeah, and I do think this is a game where there are multiple acceptable options here that I think you can make a case for a number of guys. For me personally, Kelly Oubre Jr. was the story that I love the way that he set the tone for this team tonight. And they need that. They need that level of energy that he injects in this team. And the 2 3-pointers in the first quarter, the little dust up with Banchero, which really set this into a playoff atmosphere, I thought were huge. He played 40 minutes in this game, had 19 points, shot 6 of 12 from the field, 5 of 10 from beyond the 3-point arc there, had 3 rebounds, an assist, had a steal as well, was a team high plus 19 in the matchup, but he was also defensively rotated well. I love what Oubre brings to this team, man. He has become a polarizing member of this Sixers team. He's just a hard hat guy that buckles it up and competes. So shout out to the handsomest member of this Sixers roster, Kelly Oubre Jr.
Timeout. I need 20. Anybody looking at the sports book? Don't look. What do you think the number is for game 1 on Sunday? Sam Oshtry, Sixers and Celtics. Don't look.
10.5.
Sean Barnard.
A 9.5 is where my brain popped to. If my guess, it's higher based on your reaction.
11.5.
Okay.
Go. Go.
Yep.
It's tough.
Yep. And that's at 1 o'clock, right?
Yeah.
Good.
Look, I guess we'll preview the Celtics in a little bit, but winning one game would be a miracle. And then look, maybe Joel Embiid can come back. He was on the bench tonight. Skip Bayless had an interesting report. We shouldn't even give life to. I didn't even want to bring it up. We shouldn't.
Yeah, you just brought it up.
I know.
Not
that's
interesting.
That's
Interesting. Blatant lie is what
Idiot.
escaped.
Blatant
lie.
Idiot.
Blatant
He's
lie.
an
Yeah,
idiot. He's a loser.
Go
Go away. Anyways, yeah, look, we got time, but 11.5. Not surprising, but deflating at the same time. It's just reality. That's all.
Game
like
ain't
you
won or
said-
lost in the sports book, Sean Brace. They got to suit of him take this action on the court.
It's a reasonable line. You can't. I mean,
No.
I wonder what the series.
I don't think Sean's gonna deny that either. But again, whatever. All right, to tonight's game, Sam Oshtry, your player of the game, please.
I got Andre Drummond, and if you told me that Andre Drummond would play 31 minutes of meaningful winning basketball in the great year of 2026, I would have told you you're absolutely out of your mind. Anybody who's been following and watching this program knows that I have been very anti-Andre Drummond this year, and I haven't understood Nick Nurse's obsession with him to constantly go with him over Adem Bona in a lot of moments in a lot of games where he's just looked bad. But Andre Drummond was incredible tonight. On both ends of the floor, he was absolutely incredible. Finishing around the rim. He obviously hit 2 threes, the dagger, but he hit another one early in the game. Every three he's taken all year has been, it feels like it's going in and out. It's a good shot quality, and it's an open shot most of the time. And I feel like it's going in, and a lot of them do go in and out. But as a rim protector, too, he was so good at rebounding the basketball. There wasn't a huge rebounding advantage for the Magic, and that was a big key coming into this game, where the Magic are one of the best offensive rebounding teams in the league. That's how they generate offenses, from extra shots by crashing on the offensive rebounds. Andre Drummond was great defensive rebounder tonight. He put pressure on the offensive glass, too. I thought he finished around the rim well. He had 3 blocks and some really great blocks. So we talk all the time about the big production when Joel Embiid's out, and he's never had a good backup center. Between Andre Drummond and Adem Bona tonight, they got incredibly great minutes from their bigs. 6 total blocks between the two of them. And we talked earlier about Adem Bona's incredible blocks in the third quarter. One was just incredible. It was one of the best blocks I've seen all year, honestly. So Andre Drummond's my player of the game. And I haven't even mentioned the 14 points because that's not even that important to me. It was the rebounding and the rim protection. But Andre Drummond is who won this game for the Sixers.
Man, I'd go Oubre. Oubre would be the guy that I'm looking at. Going 40 minutes, having the performance he did, making the threes, of course, finishing with 19. Brought a little of everything. He's got the attitude. You start a fight, you start an argument with one of his teammates. He's the first guy in your face.
Yeah.
He brings it, man. I think, Sean, did you say in the text chain that like we don't show him enough love or something along those lines? And
for sure,
I
there's
agree.
A large portion of the Sixers fan base that is an anti-Kelly Oubre type guy that and I get it. I wish he was a little bit of a better shooter. There are times where he can get lost in trying to navigate screens, but he competes, man. He gives you everything that he's got, and that's all that I can ask for in a guy.
And the biggest compliment to Kelly Oubre is how great he was last year. When that was a terrible year, a lot of guys quit on that team, and understandably so. I mean, they were a terrible team. Kelly Oubre played hard every single night, every single minute. Like he was still playing for a playoff spot. Yeah. And that's, I think, when he proved himself, not just to the Sixers organization, but to the fan base too. And that's translated into this year when he's been healthy. Yeah.
Well, yeah, as far as Oubre is concerned tonight, again, you could pick any one of those guys. Obviously, we just did. Oubre jumped off the page at me, definitely. And you look at the numbers, and of course, I guess maybe I wasn't aware of 40 minutes played. That's impressive. So him, Maxey, and VJ, all 3 of them go over 40 minutes played. Yeah, all 3 of them over 40 minutes. So that's impressive stuff there. And that's what's being asked of them. A little bit more in depth. I know we talked about Paul George. What are we seeing? Do we feel like he's taking a step back? He came out strong, had a couple great games after the suspension, settled in a little bit. 2 duds as we rolled into the playoffs. What'd you see tonight from him, though? He finished with 16. His performance as a whole, though. Sean, I'll go to you first.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good first half, and he disappeared a little bit in the second there. He also stayed on the bench far longer than I would have left him if I was Nick Nurse there. They didn't put him back in for that final closing lineup until 4:45 left in the game there. And as I'm watching, I'm like, why is Paul George still on the bench right now? Let's get him back in the game. I thought overall he was good tonight. It wasn't the most impressive Paul George performance that we've seen to this point. I was hoping for a little bit more, and I did see a couple of flashes early on that I thought we were going to get that. But there were still moments where you put that guy in a phone booth, man, he still can get a shot off and score a bucket. And he had a couple of those moments tonight. So it wasn't off the charts great, but I was okay with the Paul George performance tonight.
Sam, come to you. But first, man, it looks like Steph Curry re-aggravated something, heading back to the locker room. Damn. That sucks.
Yeah, he's supposed to be on a men's restriction anyway tonight. So
yeah, but what the number was? 40?
Yeah. Oh no, 32. I saw his.
30. Okay.
Yeah,
40.
40's not minutes.
That's what I said. Somebody said that. What was that on? It was one of the talking head shows, and I was like, "What? 40? All right." Moving on though, as far as tonight. Sam,
Paul George. Yeah, I was disappointed in Paul George. He's really frustrating to watch. And it was especially in that third quarter and early fourth where they were getting the switches they want for Paul George. And he just wasn't taking advantage of them. He wasn't getting to the rim. He wasn't getting to the free throw line. He settles way too much. And Sean's right. He can create space on a lot of these shots, no matter who's guarding him. But it's just these baseline step backs, these 3 dribble step back or side step into a wing 3. It's just I don't want to watch that. Get downhill. When Paul George is hitting shots at a really high level, which we've seen, of course he can drill all those. That's not what the Sixers needed. It's not what he wasn't making shots at a high level tonight. 6 for 16 from the field, 1 for 6 from 3. It just wasn't an impressive Paul George performance. I do think in the final minutes he did a good job about driving the basketball. There was a possession where he got the switch onto a Magic big and he just took it downhill and he almost finished the N1, but he ended up getting fouled and made both free throws. And there was another possession where he was getting doubled along the baseline and he hit a brilliant pass to Andre Drummond, who flashed up to the free throw line. And Andre Drummond hit a great behind the back pass to VJ Edgecombe, who had a tough finish. And that to me was one of the crucial plays. I think it was around 2 minutes to go. So Paul George was better with his shot selection later in the game, but overall it was just disappointing. And if he's going to shoot that poorly and his shot selection is going to be that off, they're going to have a really tough time stealing even one game against the Celtics.
Once again, Sixers, big time victory, of course, 109-97. A lot of fun on the timeline, and that's what it's all about. I know that we were a lot of people coming into this postseason. Who cares? There was a lot to be gained for the young guys, specifically VJ and, of course, Tyrese. Look, man, who knows what's going to happen with Oubre in the future? Bottom line is that's a good experience for him as a player, if he's a part of this organization or not, right? You can grow a ton from that performance. There's a lot to gain, no doubt about it. So on to the next one. Of course, we'll talk about Boston here, if you don't mind, boys, because the schedule has been out. As we said, they open up game 1 on Sunday at 1 o'clock. Be interested to see where the Flyers are scheduled to play as well. Both teams will open up their series on the road. This one at Boston, though, for the Sixers perspective. Again, game 1 Sunday.
Playing Sunday too?
They're either Saturday or Sunday at Pittsburgh. We were talking about it today, and it's would you rather that is better for Saturday or – I think Sunday. I said Sunday. If I was whoever's broadcasting it, I don't even know. I had my choice. I would rather have the Flyers or Penguins on Sunday, but I'm not.
Definitely gonna be some overlap games.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be it's gonna be fun and expensive to be a Philadelphia sports fan. Sixers Celtics 1 o'clock game 1, 2 Tuesday night. Peacock 7 p.m. game in Boston. 3 come home to Philadelphia on Friday, April 24th, 7 p.m. Amazon game. Sean Barnard, game 3 Friday night. What's the series heading into that? 2-0?
It's 2-0. It's a 2-0 Boston Celtics series lead. to the 2-0 Boston Celtics series lead, but I do think they take that Friday game and maybe the one following too. I don't think they get swept. I do think this team is capable of beating the Celtics team. Do I think that they're
Shocker.
going to win the series? Probably not. But do I think there's a 0% chance? Absolutely not there. That I do see a pathway to them making things a little bit more competitive than I think are given credit. I think this is probably a series that there will be one like Celtics blowout where they absolutely clean house and look like way better than the Sixers because they are better than the Sixers right there. But I think this is probably going to be a series that we revisit, that it is 4-1 or it probably ends 4-1, but looks more competitive than that on paper.
Sixers and Celtics split 4 games, 2 apiece this past season. Last time that they matched up, 2023, the semis, which obviously went to a big game 7. Tatum goes
dropped 51.
51 in that game. Yeah, not exactly. A series that the Sixers were up 3-2 and game at home, up at halftime, right? We're tripping on that.
I'm not sure. I know game 6, that was the when this era kind of closed, to be honest. That was James Harden certainly sulking around the court out there. That's when I was completely out on the James Harden experience, who is now, still doing his thing, and we'll see where the Cleveland Cavaliers end up in this postseason. But yeah, that was the missed opportunity. That I know we talk about the Kawhi shot a lot. We talk about the Ben Simmons passed up dunk. I do think in reality, when we're talking about the best path for this team, it was that year. You had the Celtics team on the ropes and absolutely let them get away. So maybe we can get some revenge this year. Who knows?
Maybe get some revenge, Sam Oshtry. All right, Sam, bloodbath, competitive. Well, like, is it just complete domination? Do they outsize the Sixers? Why? What are we feeling? Give me a 30,000 view, conversation here about Sixers Celtics.
They're so good with their process of their shots, and what I mean by that is they value every possession at a really high level where they don't turn the ball over. So they're not giving you fast break opportunities. And they also crash the offensive rebounds at a really high rate. So they're creating extra shots and generating extra shots that way. And that's really where they're going to shoot more shots than you and have and maximize possessions at a higher level than almost anybody they play, including the Sixers, who sometimes struggle in those areas. So it's not that they have a great front court necessarily, but they're still a really strong front court because of how much they prioritize rebounding and specifically offensive rebounding. And we know the Sixers were good defensive rebounding tonight, but they're still one of the worst defensive rebounding teams in the NBA. And there's just a talent deficiency between these two teams. I mean, we can break it down as many ways as we want about what each team does well. Celtics are the way more talented team from their top end talent all the way to their depth. And it's just kind of hard to overcome that in the playoffs. I think the best example of that was the last time these two teams played was the Celtics won 114-98, and that was back March 1st. And that was a pretty similar lineup to the one that the Sixers are going to play against, at least to start the series, without Joel Embiid, whereas Kelly Oubre, Dominic Barlow, Andre Drummond, Maxey, Edgecombe, Bona, Grimes, those were the top 7 guys. And that's what the Sixers were rolling with tonight. And the Celtics just made it really hard for the Sixers to score. Sixers shot 38% from the field, which is really bad. So but between each end of the floor, there's just a talent deficiency the Sixers have when they're playing a team like the Celtics. And maybe they can steal one. It's going to be hard. But I will say the question in between every single game is going to be, is Joel Embiid going to play?
Well, that's what I was just about to ask you. So as you look here right now, say you get Joel Embiid back for game 3, and that's a realistic possibility. That's April 24th. Today, right now, is April 15th. Obviously, April 16th, an hour and 9 minutes. But April 24th, significant little stretch there that Joel Embiid, for my opinion, again, out there walking around, moving. I think he will be back for game 3. So let's say the Sixers lose both games. Celtics take care of home court. Sam, are you singing a little bit different tune with Joel Embiid out there?
Yeah. I am for sure, but what we know about Joel Embiid's returns is he usually takes a little bit to get back into the rhythm of things. So I mean, it'll definitely be more competitive. But if they're already
except for this year, he had 1 return and he was awesome. Other than that, it's normally I'm with you. So
but in the beginning of the year, it took a little bit.
You're right.
And the point that I would make on that is, Brace, that I think goes with the give and take of he's not playing until he's absolutely like 100% ready, which has been the adjustment this year. And with that, like, he's picked up where
That's
he's
true.
left off and looked
Yeah.
like that. To that point, though, I don't think this is an injury or an issue, however you want to word it, with the appendix, that he's like doing any sort of basketball activities. Like, my understanding of things is he's basically completely landlocked and off his feet right now. So I don't think this is quite the same situation where he's just going to be able to jump back in at full force. Unfortunately,
Right, I thought he was on the bench tonight.
he was
Yeah,
there.
he was,
That
but
doesn't mean,
there's no like conditioning.
No, I know, but he's walking around. At least he's moving. He's not.
Yeah, I mean, he's not in a wheelchair.
He's not
playing
bedridden.
basketball. Yeah.
No, yeah.
Look, if they're coming back down 2-0, maybe they steal game 3 at home, and then Embiid comes
Celtics
back.
hold home court. Like, there's no shame in that. Celtics hold home court.
Yeah,
they go up 2-0.
Like, they can be a more competitive series because an out of shape, even injured Embiid can still drop 40 in a game like that, especially against the Celtics, who I don't think really have a lot of defenders who you can put on Embiid. So yeah, it gives them a more competitive shot, but there's no reason to really believe that Embiid will come back at all, or will come back and they'll be able to win when he does.
You'll think this is hyperbole right now. If we got a healthy Joel Embiid, or whatever version you want to frame of him, against that Celtics front court, I'm talking their options are Nikola Vucevic, who I could score on in a one-on-one setting. We're talking Luka Garza, who is just, is a fine player, but that's who he is, and Neemias Queta. If we got Joel Embiid for that series, he would be averaging 60 points per game, straight up.
No, he wouldn't.
Yes, I think he absolutely would.
Because Mazzulla is way too smart of a coach to let that happen. You throw a lot of doubles at him his way. You even guard. They go small a lot, and they will in the playoffs for sure, where they go Tatum at the 5. You'll see some small ball lineups. So you put Tatum on him, and you kind of just send doubles his way. I mean, look, it would be an advantageous matchup for him every single night. But there would be nights where they would sell out, limiting Joel Embiid's production and kind of make Kelly Oubre beat you from 3 and other guys beat you from 3.
And I liked what you said about going small, because you're absolutely right. They have gone to the Tatum at the 5 concept a lot. I was trying to think through this current iteration of the Sixers team. What is the best possible chance you can create for yourself? And what I was sort of landing on is, what about starting Dominic Barlow at the 5 for this series? I do think he can bang with those guys, the Quetas, the Garzas, the Vucevic right there. You're giving up some. I know rebounding's still going to be a concern, but VJ is the guy that crashed the glass more than anything. Paul George can step up. Kelly Oubre can make an impact there. I do think you're probably the best way that you can beat this team is you're going to have to play fast pace. You're going to have to run and gun, get out in transition. And I do wonder if going small is their best direction with Joel Embiid not here. It is worth noting, Andre Drummond made the start in both games that Joel Embiid was not available for the Celtics this year. But in a 7-game series, that's sort of the game plan that I was kind of talking myself into.
I get the process behind the thought. This team offensive rebounds at a really high level. They just prioritize it. They send all types of guys. Their wings they send to the glass. They don't even care. I mean, they do have decent floor balance, but they don't even care that much about transition defense. They are sending guys to the offensive glass. If you put Dominic Barlow in at the 5, you create a really small team that's just not going to be able to defensive rebound the basketball. Dominic Barlow had 2 rebounds tonight. So you're just giving up so much on that end where I don't think it'd be worth it. But I do get it from like a let's play fast against this team standpoint.
2 rebounds in 10 minutes. I'll throw in as a qualifier there. He didn't play a ton.
That's true.
Celtics attempt 42 3-pointers per game.
They launch.
That is good for top 5, 4th in the league. Curious, 76ers average 35 3-pointers per game, 36%. But I mean, the averages really aren't all that much, but they shoot 36% to the Sixers 34%. So, look, we know what they want to do. It's just interesting. I bring that up, Sean, because you said, I believe, Sean, you said, if not Sam, I apologize, about how they have to be aggressive, get after it to beat the Celtics. It's definitely, you can't match with them, right? You're not going to be able to go shot for shot. That's for sure.
But I also kind of like the identities of these teams are so different that it felt like the Celtics became the blueprint of every team in the league wants these long, versatile, switchable wings. And the reality is that those are hard guys to find. There is not a lot of those. The Sixers now have this identity of Maxey and Edgecombe are going to be the guys that get up and down the floor, push the tempo. You can't run with these guys. There's not a single player on that Boston Celtics roster that's going to be able to stick Maxey in a one-on-one setting. Try me with Derek White. I dare you to put Derek White in a one-on-one setting with Tyrese Maxey, which is what I would guess the matchup will be there. I feel good about that as a, in a vacuum matchup right there. But you got to feed into whatever advantages you can create. And I think that's one. You got to really lean into that. So I think they need to embrace this. We're going to play as up-tempo as possible. We're going to get up and down in transition and kind of hope for the best. The cards are stacked against them. There's no ifs, ands, buts, or different way to slice that right there. But if I'm trying to talk myself into finding a pathway, that's the direction that I'm really leaning into.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to. It's about finding a pathway. They're not talking like, look, we'll see what happens. The cards fall where they're going to fall, right? It's a tough game, tough series. Curious though, Sam, would you? I know we talked about this, but where do you stand right now? Like, if the Sixers, the Lifeline tweet that went out on the timeline earlier this week, where it was like Sixers lose to the Magic, extend, of course, right? Beat whoever the 10 seed is or 9 seed, whatever, advance.
Hornet.
Now you're taking on the Pistons. You lose to essentially what we just talked about. Joel Embiid comes back for game 3. So the Pistons or the Celtics, if you had your choice, which way would you go, Sam?
It was a ridiculous conversation that was taking place in certain corners of the internet today. You don't play for seeding or position.
That's the internet, dude.
You're right. But you don't play for seeding or positioning when you're in a do or die game. That's not how this thing works. So yes, I'd rather play the Pistons, but the reality is the Pistons or the Celtics are going to beat the Sixers pretty handily. I think the Pistons are less talented and less experienced, not as well coached, and all those factors, which makes that matchup easier. But the Sixers would be massive underdogs against both those teams. So you don't take your chance of, let's punt the game against the Magic because, by the way, they would lose to the Hornets. I mean, this was the best matchup the Sixers could have got in the play-in. A reeling Magic team that's about to fire their coach, that can't shoot the ball at all, and the Sixers took advantage of it. But they would probably be losing to the Hornets if they played them on Friday night. So you don't kind of pick your poison of, I'd rather match up against them. You win this game and you get the Celtics and you put your best foot forward against a really good team.
My only pushback was that I really wanted to see Tobias come in. And like that would have raised it up another level. Like he
did the other day. You saw it 2 weeks ago.
I know, but
by the way,
now he's got everybody's attention, so he would really get his ass booed. Really, it'd be a lot of fun.
But that wouldn't be right. That wouldn't be right if you booed.
I think we did see Tobias tonight. He just had Banchero on the back of his jersey. Was my
wow. Boom, boom.
By the way, you want to talk about attacking the glass. The Detroit Pistons, just as much, probably even more of a nightmare in that specific category right there. Their rebounding numbers don't pop off the page the way that like my eyes tell me right there, that I'm always kind of surprised when I look at the numbers that they're not like the number one team in the league because it feels like it when you play against them. But I don't love that matchup for the Sixers either. So in any way you cut this, they were going to be massive underdogs. Why not feed me the team that I have the second most hatred in my heart for?
Look, all I want is game 1, fourth quarter. Excuse me. It won't be game 1. It'll be game 3. Okay. Fourth quarter. And Jason Tatum misses the first free throw and everybody's going nuts. And the broadcast talks about fucking chicken. Are you kidding me? What is going on?
I know we escaped it.
That national broadcast, I didn't think it was very, very good. Okay,
terrible.
All right. 1, 2 is that's them killing time talking about fucking chicken. You are the national broadcast. No one gives a fuck about that chicken promotion except the people that could get chicken. I don't care about chicken. I thought the chicken would die with Kate and Allah, but the national broadcast does it not once, but 2 times. I'm losing my shit, man.
I will say a couple years ago, Brian Anderson, correct me on this, Sean. I know you remember it. Brian Anderson couldn't understand on the national broadcast why the Sixer fans were going so crazy on the second free throw. And he got a lot of crap for that because it was like, you don't know that we get chicken if we miss the second free throw. And so I think national broadcasts have corrected themselves where they think it's such a big deal that you have to mention it when you come to Philly.
Am I wrong? Am I looking at it the wrong way?
No,
Like,
I
should
agree with you. I don't care about the damn chicken. I don't care at all. But I agree with you. But I'm saying that's why national broadcasts do it now, because they think it's like this thing that everyone in Philly loves. Like, nobody cares unless you're at the game.
Yeah, like
It's
Sean?
like every
percent
team
of
has
people- I
some
mean, I've
form
been-
of that promotion.
I've been to so many Sixers games, and I love Chick-fil-A more than anybody. I have never once cashed in on that promotion. What percent of the people there are cashing in on that? Less than one?
Dude, I don't even know. I was at one game where it happened, and like, okay, then you got to scan something. It's up there for a second. I don't know. I know it's probably easy to get it. I'm not going to Chick-fil-A to get a free nugget. I just don't want it on the broadcast. Like, you could shoot chicken from the rooftop. If I'm at the game, cool. I'm at home. I don't care about the chicken promotion. I just don't care.
This broadcast got a lot of stuff just flat out wrong.
A lot of mispronunciations as far as names are concerned.
Yep. I mean,
Like-
they said Paul George came back from an injury 11 games ago. I was like, no, he was suspended.
Yeah.
They got a bunch of other things wrong too.
The way they
lot
were
of
pronouncing
Maxey hate,
Edgecombe.
too.
Wow, really? I didn't hear that Maxey hate.
It was just a lot of pointing out how much he was complaining, which he was. And Tyrese has gotten kind of bad about that. But there was like a whole bunch of like, and there's Tyrese talking to the referees that I was like, okay, like I hear you here.
Yeah. All right. Let's put a bow on this bad boy. Boys, we're going to be doing stuff on 97.5 The Fanatic. I was told make the playoffs. We're going live. I don't know when. It could be Sunday. It could be Tuesday. It could be Friday. Don't know. But
Well, now we have to, I don't want to say it, but now we have to root against the Flyers because they're going to interfere with us.
No issues there.
No, the Sixers are always on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Oh, they are.
Hockey should just never take priority over
Hey.
basketball. I'll throw
Hey,
that
don't
one out.
say
there.
that.
Time
Don't
I
say
agree.
that. No,
I agree.
I don't need this double assist nonsense in my sport.
Hey, we show love to everybody right now because they're winning. That's all that matters.
Sure.
Yeah, so definitely Friday. 100% will be on Friday. Like the home games, we are live. So that Friday and Sunday, get ready. Both are 7:00. So it's gonna be late nights for us, but we will be live definitely for people leaving in the parking lot. The hope, yeah, let's go. I'll find out about Sunday, but I won't lose sleep if it's Tuesday night that our first one we're rolling. So let's do it. With that being said, let's go ahead and put a bow on, or that's on 97.5 The Fanatic. We will be live no matter what on Sunday right here on socials. But just saying, getting everything going over there and people signing off on stuff. Different ball game. Put a bow on this one, Sam Oshtry. Again, like you said, we could talk about the Celtics later. Tonight, they beat the Orlando Magic. Must-win game. They did exactly that.
Sixers belong in the playoffs. They're too talented not to be in the playoffs. And yeah, there's no real high ceiling. They're not going to make a run this year. But we have playoff basketball back in the city of Philadelphia. And this city didn't have it for a long time during the process era. And then it was pretty consistent. Sixers were going to be playing in late April. And that was taken away from us last year in one of the most disastrous, disappointing seasons in Sixers history. So however you want to slice how this season's played out, Embiid, his future, all these different things, the Sixers are back in the playoffs, playing at least 4 more games of basketball, high stakes basketball. And that's awesome. And that's important. And it's really important that VG Edgecombe and Max are going to get playoff reps together because VG Edgecombe has been that great of a rookie where he deserves to be playing in the postseason. So let's just enjoy the ride and see what happens with Embiid, whether he comes back or not, and just play it from there. But it's going to be a fun matchup.
Well, we're going to have fun, all right. No doubt about that. Sean Barnard, your thoughts?
Yeah, the bottom line is we got at minimum 4 more Sixers games to talk about, get fired up about, and discuss right here. So I'm fired up about that. And by the way, who knows, man, that stranger things have happened. That this is not the prime Boston Celtics team that we've seen winning championships. They're a very good team. They're definitely better than the Sixers. There's no arguing about that. But I've seen a lot of teams that are better than their opponent and not end up winning a series or that game right there. So let's buckle up. Let's throw our best fastball. Let's figure out the best possible pathway for this team to have a chance. And who knows when Joel Embiid does step back on the floor. Who knows? Keep our mindset open here. We'll see what happens.
What do you think, big man? The wife wants to paint over him. If he gets traded, he gets painted over. I can't allow it. I
What's
can't
it gonna
allow
be?
it.
What would be painted over?
It's going to be not well. You're just going to have to,
It's like white paint.
paint the whole room.
Yep.
Yep.
All right, so
Can't do
everything's on the line for him.
Well,
Don't
he's
do
not-
it, Grace.
Yeah, he might get traded. We'll see. Did you see Bob Myers was front
I did
row
see that. Front and
hanging
center.
out.
Always is.
front-
His
Front
usual
and
seat
center.
right next to Josh Harris. He was
Tell
standing
you
up
what.
clapping at the
Yeah.
end of the game.
And
Tell you
I also,
what.
for what it's worth here, I think I've hit on this point a decent bit on this show. But for me, it's the how, not just the results, for what I think we need to judge this on. It's a completely different story to me if they just look not even the same stratosphere of the Celtics versus that they're competitive in 4 games and still get swept. If this team shows me a scrap, shows me a fight, shows me some signs of this, I do think that changes the tone of what this offseason looks like. There's going to be big picture questions. I can tell Brace isn't digging that right there, but I do think the how they look matters to me almost a little bit more than the results.
Yeah, you can keep looking.
I think for Nick Nurse,
it's a bottom line business, Bernard. Bottom line
Right.
business.
I do
Anyways,
think that's
so-
true for Nick Nurse, though. I think he is still coaching for his job over these next 4, 5, 6 games, whatever it is.
That's fair. Yeah, I can live with that. Again, yeah. The season's not. We've got a brand new series. Like somebody said it. The games aren't played on paper. It's the reality. So yeah, they're still coaching. I'm not putting dirt on Daryl Morey and Nick Nurse. I just look, if it plays out how I think it's going to play out, then I've had enough. But they could prove us wrong, like they did tonight. Prove me wrong. Nice victory against the Orlando Magic. How about that chick catching the ball in the head?
Dude, gotta have your head
Yeah,
on a swivel.
don't.
Yeah.
Wow.
If your feet are on the hardwood, man, you gotta have your head on a swivel there. Throw a hand up. You gotta be prepared.
You know what? I'm just remembering VG Edgecombe. I forget what happened, but it happened in Boston where he drilled a fan courtside.
Yeah,
Remember that
yeah.
earlier this season?
Kicked her in the head.
This is-
diving
yeah.
for a loose ball. Yeah.
He was diving for a loose ball and just drilled her, and she had a huge welt on the side of her head.
Yeah.
Wonder if
That
she'll
was,
be courtside again.
that was against Boston, right?
Yeah, it was in
Yeah.
Boston.
Need to
He
get
gave
her
her
on
a
the
call
show.
after the game too. He gave a nice yeah.
Need to get her on the show. That's funny. That's a good call. Yeah, we'll see. Hey, look, man. Put the foot on the throat. Hopefully that's the case there. Yeah, man, that chick got smoked. And she left too. I would imagine she got migraines.
Yeah, it's probably a concussion.
Oh,
I'd
dude.
be milking that as much as I possibly could if I'm her, dude. My vision's blurry. I can't see anything
Well,
right now.
you can't sue. It's got to be when you buy those tickets. It's
Yeah,
what
it's definitely-
happens in those seats.
It's on the
Fair
back.
point.
Got to keep the head on the swivel. She was with the lawyer, Klein, I think his last name. He's
Yeah.
at all the sporting
The guy with the
events.
long hair, yeah, he's at every game, right in that
Yeah.
seat.
Yeah, she was next to him. Now I don't know if that was his date or if that was just someone to accompany him or not even someone with him. I don't know, but he was next to her. And then I watched and he was gone and she was gone. So
He did lift the arm up like she was okay after. I did notice that.
you got to ice up. You got to ice up, son. Get the ice pack out. All right, boys. Great job as always. Everybody back tomorrow, 10 a.m. 97.5 The Fanatic with John Marks. I'm gonna get these guys to phone in. We'll have some fun. Of course, Sixers keep the season rolling along. Nice victory there this evening once again down at Xfinity Mobile Arena. Oh, by the way, did you see where we're putting the new arena?
Sort of. I saw
Yeah.
It's
something
like
about
next Xfinity Live or Stateside Live, right?
109.97 is your final score. Essentially, it's right there. But what's going to be cool is I think they're going to do a lot of work underneath with the subway and all that. I believe. So
Didn't we go through this whole rodeo like a year or two ago?
it. Yeah. I was just thinking, I feel like I hear so much more talk about the discussions over things than any sort of action.
Well,
with
it's
this
the
stuff.
blueprints. The blueprints are being laid. You got to come up with blueprints before you start drilling.
Brace, for now, we're worrying about whether we can tailgate or not in the World Cup, which I
What
have no
is
idea what
that all about? What the hell? What's the matter with these people? I can't tailgate. And then did you see that word salad? What statement being put out by the Philadelphia Sox? Could somebody tell me if I can tailgate or are you going to take my Yeti? What are we doing here?
Surfside or Stateside Live is opening up the deck too, May 29th.
Yeah.
Should we hit the concert together?
Let's do it. I'm in. All right, boys. Have a great night. Everyone, thank you very much for tuning in. For Sean Barnard, Sam Oshtry, I'm Sean Brace. We'll talk to you on Sunday. Peace.
Sixers and 6.